My brothers and sisters, you are now watching The Gamer 2323, so just forget about the chores you're supposed to do. Put your feet up, get your Kool-Aid, fried chicken, popcorn, get whatever you may need. And I hope you enjoy the video. So, this is coming way later than I expected it to. I wanted to get out this review like a day or two after I beat the DLC, which I beat the DLC the day it came out, which I didn't expect that. But people are still sending me messages like, "Where's that Last of Us Left Behind DLC review, my brother?" And I was like, you know, I gotta get something out. I mean, it is The Last of Us, right? So I guess this will be my small, review for what I thought about the DLC. If you were in my stream when I was streaming the DLC, you pretty much kind of probably already have an idea of what I'm about to say. But as far as with this, I guess, review for my review for this DLC, there will be no spoilers as far as the DLC goes. I can't promise you that with the actual game though, The Last of Us, because there are some, this DLC is just pretty much built off of The Last of Us. So, I might have to drop a spoiler here and there as far as with the actual game, but with the DLC, no spoilers, my brothers and sisters. So, that Left Behind Last of Us DLC, are you worth the 60 bones? No, 50. If that jump was 60, then Lord have mercy. No, are you worth the 15 bones? So that Last of Us Left Behind DLC though, okay? We all know that our brother loves. Relax, I was on this game's nuts before we even seen a speck of gameplay, okay? So I knew that when this DLC came out, I had to play. You can't simply play The Last of Us and not, be interested in this DLC. You just can't do it. There was a lot of hype for this DLC. You combine that with the dryness of these next-gen consoles. People were looking for something to play, anything, even if they had to go back to last gen to play it, okay? So this DLC had a lot of hype going into it, So this DLC is mainly a prequel to that of The Last of Us. I say mainly because this DLC does contain flashbacks, and with those flashbacks, it'll flashback, to a part that actually happens in The Last of Us, and it's a huge part. So I cannot stress this enough. Do not play this DLC if you have not played The Last of Us. If you do that, you're pretty much asking, spoil me, because you will see a huge part in this DLC that happens later on in The Last of Us. And if you do that, you're going to spoil it, So play the game first, then this DLC, even though it's technically a prequel, okay? So even though, yes, it's technically a prequel, the main, focus part of this DLC was to show that relationship between Ellie and her best friend Riley, which we did not get to see in The Last of Us, because if you beat The Last of Us, okay, spoiler alert, I guess, if you beat The Last of Us, we all know what happens to Riley. She takes that L, okay? That is the rule of every apocalypse. All black people must take that L, okay? That's just the way it works. But so we know eventually what happens to her. So, but I enjoyed seeing, how their relationship was. I enjoyed seeing how not only were Ellie and Riley like best friends, they're like sisters. They did everything together, It's like Riley was like Ellie's big sister, and I also liked seeing how Ellie in this DLC, she was more like realistic. In the actual game, Ellie is like, she's used to, being in a world like that, to where you like have to sleep with one eye open. She was like emotionless. She wasn't really that scared of nothing. In this DLC, you see like how a 13, 14-year-old girl would actually be like in the worlds where people were trying to eat you. So I liked seeing, that different side of Ellie, I liked what this DLC did. You got to learn more about Ellie and Riley and stuff like that. I like seeing that relationship between them. Okay, don't get it twisted. But then I beat the DLC, and then that's where the issues came in, because this DLC is $15, and no lie, you can beat it in like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. 3 is like. It's cutting it close, okay? This DLC is short, okay? And for it being so short, and for it I just thought the pacing of this DLC was bad. You know, when the whole Ellie and Riley scenes are going on, it's mostly just, you know, them talking, you know, amongst each other, and you know, again, you're learning about their relationship. I got it, but when you're doing that, when you're just doing stupid stuff with them, like at one point I'm like, okay, are these two about to go trick? Are they about to go trick or treating? Because it's like they're putting on masks, you know, they're freaking throwing bricks at freaking car windows. It got to a water gun contest. I was like, what is this? Do they not realize that the infected are right outside? And I got it. They're young girls. They're still trying to you know, have fun, you know, in this apocalyptic world. I got it. But with the DLC being so short, you cannot. No, me personally, they spent too much time, you know, on trying to, you know, build on that relationship, but I know they were trying to show the gamers the relationship that these two had, but I just thought the pacing was bad, me personally. Okay, really, as far as the Last of Us type gameplay that, you know, you're used to seeing, you don't get that until it flashes back with the actual, you know, events that happen in the Last of Us, with the whole Riley and Ellie sequences. You don't get that Last of Us type gameplay. It's not until you flash back. So most of the action with the whole, you know, throwing bottles and leading the infected toward the humans, that doesn't happen with the whole Riley and Ellie parts. It happens when it flashes back. So I still enjoyed this DLC. Don't get it twisted. I enjoyed this DLC, but it was too short, and for being $15, I expected more. You know, this DLC, the way it ended, and with how the actual game ended, you know, people might not like the ending. You know, there's always these freaking cliffhangers too, but I still enjoyed it. But for it being $15 and for what it offered, after I beat the DLC, the word I kept on using was, well, the words I kept on using was, that's it. Like I just felt empty inside, like some void was not filled that I was expecting from this DLC to fill. So that's my thoughts about this DLC. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a bad DLC, but it's just too short. I really have not seen a lot of developers pull off having a great single player DLC. The last developer I remember doing that is Rockstar with Red Dead Redemption. When they included that undead nightmare thing, that junk was worth it. Okay, with this DLC, I can't say it's worth it because it's too short, and I just did not get everything I wanted from this DLC that I expected. I wasn't expecting no freaking full-blown 8-hour story, but I just wanted more. So that's what I have to say about this DLC. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. If you have not played this DLC yet, I wouldn't say you're missing out on too much. You know, it is still good, but I would personally wait for a price drop. That's what I would do. Okay, but saying that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this DLC. The Last of Us Left Behind, I give it an 8 out of 10. Okay, and Naughty Dog, where's that Last of Us 2? Thank you very much.